So this video is going to give you an insight into what a psychological journal or paper would look like once it's been published. So you've done your research, you've done your study, you've put it all together, it's gone through the peer review process, and this is what an actual research paper would look like if you were to see it in a journal. So at the start of every single psychological paper, and we'll have a look at a few of these in class, you will find an abstract. An abstract is basically a summary of the study. Okay, it's got the purpose in there, it's got maybe the hypothesis, it's got the methodology, the results, and a very short conclusion in a very succinct paragraph. Okay, and what it gives you is enough information to know whether it's worth reading the rest of the paper or not. So what sort of things would an abstract include? Definitely a sentence on background information, a bit on the aims and the hypothesis. It tells you what research method was used. We're using independent group repeated measures. It's also looking at any information about the sample that was used, so what type of people were used in the study, bit of a brief description on what the participants had to do, some results and data, whether it's significant or not, a conclusion about the hypothesis, did you reject or accept your initial hypothesis, and a general conclusion in relation to the aim. What was the general conclusion for the findings of that particular study? So once you've read the abstract, you then move on to the introduction section of the paper. And the introduction will introduce the area very broadly. So you might be doing a research paper on memory. It will introduce that particular area, give you maybe a definition of what memory is. It will then start to introduce the topic. It will show you about the different types of memory, maybe the capacity of short-term memory if that's what the study is on. It will then define any key terms for you and describe the key theories and studies that have been done in the past in that particular area. And it will also state the aim of your particular study. So, for example, to investigate the effect of whatever your IV is on whatever your DV is. And it will state your hypothesis in one sentence at the end of that particular thing. There will be whatever your hypothesis is. So it's mainly looking at past theories, past studies have been done, introducing the area that your paper is going to be particularly studying. So after introduction, you've also got the results section, the methodology section. We'll be looking at all that in class about how to write all that up. Once you've done all that, you've then got the discussion section at the end of the paper. And this relates your findings back to your hypothesis. Have you accepted your hypothesis? Have you rejected it? And you also compare your findings with previous studies that have been done. So the studies you mentioned in your introduction section at the start, you now take your findings and compare them to previous studies that have been done. Are they similar? Are they different? And discuss the reasons why that might be. You also have to have some real-world applications for your study. What does it tell us about how we should be behaving in society? What impact will it have on people's lives? Also, you've got to identify any limitations in your study. It might be the methodology used, the sampling method, the way you measure the dependent variable, any limitations that you could possibly think of, and suggest ways that they could be improved. You also want to suggest an idea for further research triggered by research that you've conducted. So you might change one of the particular variables, the IV or the DV, to see what further effects you can investigate in your particular study.